Hey, good morning. Today I want to start off by reading a quick verse out of the Bible. It's kind of titled, Do Not Worry, Book of Matthew, chapter 6, verses 25 through 34. Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of us add a single hour to our life by worrying? Why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow? They do not labor or spin, yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all of his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and gone tomorrow, and is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And I think that last verse is worth repeating. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of his own. Folks, I don't remember the exact number, but I believe I was told that the words do not worry are in the Bible more than any other command is in the Bible. I forget, it's a pretty substantial amount of times that God tells us do not worry. Part of the reason that, for today's Crypto Monday Mindset Mastery video, I'm talking about controlling your emotions and getting wealthy through the control of your emotions, is because there's a lot going on right now out in the world and in the crypto space. And there's just the next few months are going to be extremely pleasant, except for when they're not. And this, folks, we're so close to the finish line, but, I guarantee you that this is when things are going to try to take you out. If you're running a marathon for 26 miles, there's going to be a few things that maybe trip you up and try to stop you from getting started. But at the same time, it's not probably that big of a deal. Like the devil or, whoever is the conspiring, to make your life difficult, whether even if it's just in your own mind. A lot of times you can get ready and you can start running the race. But I'm telling you, when you get this close to the finish line, this is when things are going to try to take you out. And so part of the reason that I'm doing this today is for my own benefit too, because that verse sounds all well and fine and dandy, but it's much easier said than actually done. And so I've had a pretty crazy weekend with some stressful moments, with some worrying. And, I didn't do as good a job of not worrying and taking that verse to heart as I should have. And then we've got, a little bit of unrest in the cryptocurrency markets. It's kind of crazy to say it, but Bitcoin is down at a little over 95, just under $96,000. And I know that a lot of people are kind of freaking out from that. But, folks, we said that 100K was going to be a interesting level that, we thought we were going to get rejected at that level. There was going to be some trouble in breaking through it. So it's not that much of a surprise, but it still kind of creates some worry and concern because we don't know. Is it going to dip down to 91? Is it going to dip down into the 80s? Is it going to dip all the way back to 70? Where is it going to go? I know that myself, I talked about many times on this channel over the last few months that Bitcoin could get rejected from 100K and drop all the way back to 70 or 80,000, which, if that were to happen, would wipe out a lot of the gains that we have had in November. And so it's kind of concerning, you know, like here we are. It's exciting to be where we're at, you know, to see tokens like, you know, Stellar Lumens, XLM, that's, you know, been around for over a decade, that didn't really do much in 2021, you know, start to take off, you know. So for any of you that own some XLM, congratulations. That's actually part of where this story begins today. Part of the reason that I'm doing this video revolves around XLM, and I'll get into that here in just a quick second. But folks, it's so important to realize that God's got us right where we're supposed to be. And once again, it's so important not to focus on the things that you have no control over. If you focus on things that you have no control over, you will have no peace in your life. All we can do is all we can do, but all we can do is enough. It's a famous quote by a gentleman named Art Williams. I love it. All you can do is all you can do, but all you can do is enough. So let's focus on what we can control, folks. With that, I want to run over to the chat and say good morning to everybody. Mr. Bernstein, how you doing, my friend? Hope you are doing fantastic. We got Petrus. Petrus, I apologize if I'm saying that wrong, but good morning, man. And yeah, absolutely. One great way to have an amazing mindset is to do what bodybuilders do. You know, I definitely agree with that. I think that starting out with exercise and looking at your health is so important, because we've talked about it on the show. That's one of the things that you do have the absolute most control over, is what you're putting in your mouth and what you're doing with your body. So great point. Good morning, Dave. Hope you are doing fantastic, brother. Hope you had a great weekend. Daniel, welcome back, buddy. Good to see you this morning. I know you are working hard, man. Thank you for all that you are doing. What do we got here? So thank you all for being here that are here today. I appreciate each and every one of you. And let me get over here and just get it on me. So if any of you are curious, I've got kind of a funny story. Let me pop over here while I'm doing this. Let me present my screen. I want to share something with you guys. So there's a couple of different things that are going on that are kind of important. And I hear a bunch of rattling around in the background. I think one of my cats found a marble or something that he's trying to play with. I can't even see where he's at exactly. I just hear the noise, and I'm hoping whatever it is, he gets through with it or knocks it someplace where he can't get it here quickly, or I'm gonna have to jump up and get him. So I got my screen shared. Now they're trying to knock over my lights. Come on, you. Got my screen shared. Let's add it to the stage. All right, so we're over here on BYDFI, and so this is a twofold story. So the first part of the story, or what I want to mention real quickly, this isn't like my show where I promote everything that I'm doing, but I just really quickly, my BYD trading contest just for the people that have already signed up for BYDFI through my link, or anybody that goes and signs up through BYDFI with my link. And so I don't have that contest or that special promotion link ready to go yet, but I did want to let you guys know that I'm going to share it tomorrow on the Trader Tuesdays live stream. And while I'm sharing this screen here for the BYDFI, I did think it would be kind of interesting to show you, a couple of different things. So I want to go, so you can see right now I don't have any trades going. I've closed out of all of my trades. I'm going to open up some new trades tomorrow, but I want you guys to see this profit and loss. And there's two reasons that I want you to see this. One reason is because it's been absolutely amazing. And these are the kind of numbers that I've been getting over the last few weeks here. You can see the green is winners and the red in this column are losers. So you can see it's been on a pretty amazing, this is since the 12th of October. So in the last 12, 13 days, this is what I've done. But I want to focus on, tomorrow I'll focus more on these green numbers and why I think it's valuable for you to go get a BYDFI account and maybe follow my trading strategy. But the one that I want to show you here is this one right here. This $1,194 loss should have never happened. And the reason that it happened, folks, let me get over here so you can see my face. The reason that it happened is because I did everything wrong that I shouldn't have done, that I'm trying to help you guys not do. So I get a text message from my son saying, hey, do you have my XLM, or is that one of the tokens that you owe me? And so there's a few tokens in my son's crypto portfolio that got sold and traded, and some different things came up. This is a portfolio that I gave him when he was probably, this XLM, I probably gave him, I think it was 1,000 XLM way back in 2017, 2018, somewhere in there, when it wasn't, I mean, it was beaten way, way, way down. Like we're talking, maybe it was 5 cents a token. So, to give him 1,000 was about $50. And I gave him $500 worth of cryptos to start off his crypto portfolio. But long story short, he asked me about them. And I didn't realize that XLM had this massive, massive run up. For those of you that don't know, it went up from it went up to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cents over the last not too little, distant future, past, whatever you want to call it. Back in the beginning of November, I think it was about 8, 9, 10 cents. But it literally had a day where it ran up like 400 or 500% in 24 to 48 hours. It went from 10 cents to over 50 cents. And so he's got me scrambling. I'm looking around trying to figure out what wallet I've got it held in, where it's at. I can't find it anywhere. And so I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I'm on the hook for $500 worth of XLM. And there's potential that this thing could keep running. And if all of a sudden it's $1, $1.50, $2, I could end up, needing to come up with a couple $1,000 to cover, this 1,000 XLM token. So as you guys can see here, what I did like a big dummy, is I went into a leveraged trade here and I made a few key mistakes. And, I think that this goes along really well with the theme of this video. Like, do not worry. Like, I freaked out. So number one, don't make financial decisions in heightened emotional states. And it can be the hardest thing in the world to do. I'm still learning, obviously, because this $1,195 loss was definitely emotion. So there's a few things that I did wrong. The first thing that I did is, full transparency. I thought, well, the way that all of my trades have been going, you can see all that green. I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll trade myself out of this. So instead of just going and buying, 1,000 tokens for $500, I had this great plan that I would leverage trade, some XLM and, just make 500 on a trade and have it covered. And so long story short, guys, I did a 25x leverage trade, which is kind of a no-no. I've been telling you guys that 5 or 10x is where you want to be, and that 25 starts to get risky, man. Things can move fast in the wrong direction, and with 25x leverage, it can go crazy. So this is how I lost, all of that money. So the first thing I did was I did 25x leverage, which was stupid. The second thing that I did is I didn't do any research. XLM was already up massive, over the last 36, 48 hours, I had no reason to necessarily believe that it was going to continue to run. And I didn't have any idea if it was going to, bounce back. But in general, if you tell me a token has gone from 10 cents to 50 cents, and then you ask me what's more likely, is it going to go down or is it going to keep going up? Normally I would tell you, hey, that's going to go down more likely than go up. Yet at the same time, I decided in all of my brilliance to place along on the thing. So long story short, folks, and then I also did more money than normal. So I usually only start with about $100 and then I ladder in my trades. But I started more with like $250, I think it was, which made all of the difference in the world. So I get the first $250 in, the token's trading at just over 50 cents. And I swear to goodness, folks, these sites sometimes I wonder how they know, but I no sooner had got the trade executed when I swear to goodness, I wish I could go back and show you the chart. Maybe I might even be able to find it if I was to go look up XLM. But this thing went from 50 cents down to 49 cents in seconds, like a minute or two at the absolute most. So I'm panicking. I know that I got to get my next trade in so that my I've got my stop loss covered. So I just barely get in my next trade for about $250 and boom, it executes. So if I hadn't got that in, I would have gotten stopped out of this position. So now I'm in this stupid trade 500. I'm already pretty much down $250 in a matter of moments. I'm thinking to myself, what an idiot I am that I am potentially risking, thousands of dollars to make $500. So long story short, though, I've got, well, you can see there, 1,194. I've got about $1,200 sitting in my perpetual account, and I have access to a couple, 2 or 3 more thousand, but it's not there already. And long story short, this thing ran from 50 cents all the way down to 46 cents. Faster than I could keep up with it. I literally put in another trade for $250 and then another trade for $250. And then the last trade, they're at about $194. And it went all the way from 50 cents down to 46 cents so fast that I ended up getting liquidated for the whole 1,194. And the sick thing about it is, folks, is once again, the third mistake that I made was not having all of my funds in place. If all I had to do was get some more funds transferred over, because it literally liquidated my trade and went down a fraction more, and then it ran all the way from 46 back up to 50 over the next, half an hour to hour or so. And long story short, had I had enough money to cover myself on the way down, it actually would have turned into an incredible trade. I would have probably ended up making, I don't even know, a lot of money, because I'm going to show you what ended up happening overall, folks, real fast. I'm going to go back over to full screen so you guys can see me, and I'll probably run over into the comment section. But the one thing that I'm proud of myself for is there I am, $1,194 gone in the matter of minutes, like 10 minutes it took. Like literally it dropped from 50 cents down to 46 cents in minutes. $1,200 gone, trying to cover a $500 position. And then on top of that, while it's gone, I watch it start climbing back up. And so that's, kind of sickening. But the one thing that I did right is I didn't get up and break my computer. I didn't throw anything around. I didn't go nuts like I potentially could have in the old days. You guys see me here. I'm pretty even keeled, but I wouldn't say that I have a bad temper by any means, but something like that in the past could have kind of set me off to where I was in a pretty bad mood and frustrated and, and just kind of, muttering under my breath some obscenities and been, kind of sick. So I was a little sick to my stomach, but I was mostly mad at myself. But my point is, folks, I handled it really, really well. And I just kind of sat back and reflected, and I thought to myself, well, the good news, Brad, is you learned a valuable lesson, and it only cost you $1,200. And I'm hoping, folks, that this story, you know, will keep you from having to lose $1,200. And, man, with everything that I got going on in my life, and as hard as I am, trying and working to, make, money and to get back to millions of dollars, it doesn't seem like $1,200 is a lot, but man, that kind of hurt to lose $1,200 that quick when I've been working so hard to build it up. And if you look below that 1,194 and you look at all those green trades, a lot of those positives are $100, $500, $800, or and so on and so forth. So long story short, that 1,200 hurt, but I learned a valuable lesson. And so I want to run over here to the comments and see if anybody agrees with what I'm saying. But anyways, I'll say long story short over and over and over, my friend. I love saying long story short. Anyways, so we get on to the rest of the day. I'm a little bit frustrated. I went and bought some XLM after that, got a few XLM. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to worry too much about, that price. Now I just got to go back to work. But this is where, I feel like I got a little bit lucky. I feel like sometimes God will teach you a lesson. And then if you learn the lesson, sometimes he will give you a blessing. And so, the end of the story is fantastic because I want to show you guys what happened next. So I learned a valuable lesson from that. I learned a lot of different things. One, don't panic. Two, don't try to get out of something easy. Should have just went and spent the 500. Three, if I am going to try to trade my way out of this deal, do more research, make sure I've got my money set up to where I could back myself up. And, so I just learned a lot of different lessons from that. And then once again, I kept control and I didn't let it ruin my day. I just went back to work. And I want to show you guys what happened a little bit later in the day. So after going back to work, so then I did some smarter stuff. So the first thing that, if you can see here on my screen, is I closed out a few of my trades and got some liquidity available. So, the nice thing about this is you can see here, I closed out my screen. So after this $1,194 loss, I closed out a trade that was, oh, come on, computer. Goodness gracious. So I closed out a trade here, you can see, for $473 profit, a $279 profit, a $393 profit, a $239 profit. And then I had my big, or had I already cashed it out? I guess I'd already cashed out. So if you go slightly below here, you can see I closed out this ADA trade with an $836 profit. And long story short, though, this trade come on, guys. This trade right here for the $1,357, look at this, folks. This was an XLM trade. But what I did when XLM dipped, it dipped all the way back down to about 48 cents. And I had my money ready. I went back into that XLM trade for $250, but I only used 10x leverage. And I had enough money backing it to cover several legs down, but I felt like it was probably, because it had gone all the way down to 46, had bounced back up to about 50-ish, and now it was down to 48. And so I decided to get back into this trade. So I put $250 in. It dipped down a little bit, nowhere near my stop loss, but I threw another 250 in, and then it started to run. And you can see here where it looks like it ran all the way up to about 60 cents. So I closed it, went from 48 to 60. And I closed this trade out with a $1,357 profit on the same exact day, literally probably 5, 6, 7 hours after I lost the 1194. So thank God. I really believe that he was trying to teach me a lesson. And then once again, once he felt like I'd learned the lesson, he gave me the blessing. And so I actually ended up getting all of the XLM money back plus a couple $100. But that right there, that happened on Saturday, that was a huge reason for my video today. Folks, I'm human. I am not perfect. And, literally, I mean, if that trade would have kept going down and had I had my money available, theoretically, I could have kept throwing $250, $300, $400 lower and lower and lower and lower. And at some point in time, when I got the whole $4 or $5 grand that I had on the site into that trade, there's some possibility, like if that thing would have ran all the way down to say like 30 cents, which when something's gone from 10 cents to 50 plus cents, having it go back 60% or 40, 50% is not totally out of the question. So theoretically, I kind of put myself in a position where if all of my funds were available and I was going to ride that trade, ride or die, like it was either going to start going back up or I was going to put every penny that I had in it, theoretically speaking, I could have lost $4 or $5 grand trying to make a stupid $500. And so once again, don't lose your head over a little piece of tail. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that expression before, but there's a dog and he gets his tail stuck in a railroad track and he's pulling and he's trying hard to get his tail unstuck, and all of a sudden the train starts, coming down the track and it's tooting and doing and it's coming down and the dog is panicking. He's jerking, he's jumping all over the place. Everything that he does, no matter what he does, he cannot get his tail loose from the track. So at the very last second, right before the train runs over his tail, he whips his head around and he tries to bite his tail off and the train hits him and kills him. And the moral of the story is don't lose your head over a little piece of tail. And so I was in a position on Saturday where I was going to lose my head over a very small, insignificant thing. And I let it blow it right way, way, way out of proportion. And the reason that I mentioned that is, once again, just like I know right now, even though Bitcoin just dipped down to 94,000 while I was talking, and now it's back up to 95. I don't have a crystal ball, and I can't tell you. There's a very high likelihood, in my opinion, we're still going to 100,000 in November. There's also some possibility that we could get lower and go down into the 90s or even into the 80s, and theoretically, anything is possible. We could even go down into the 70s. My point is, folks, is it doesn't matter if you stick with the plan. So having said that, I want to mention over the last few months, I talked a lot about maybe cashing out some of my crypto portfolio when we got to about 100K. And I just, for full transparency, I want you guys to know I haven't sold anything. And the reason I haven't sold anything personally is because I think it's way, way, way too early. I was not expecting us to hit $100,000 anywhere near this quickly. If this would have happened at the end of December, January, February, I would have thought, okay, we got to be on the lookout here and see what's going to happen and maybe pull some profits off the table. The other thing is, because Bitcoin rips so violently, the altcoins haven't followed yet. Yeah, like Polkadot and XRP and a few of these tokens, we've got 100, or we've got a 1x on them, or whatever you want to call it, a 2x. Like Polkadot doubled from $4 and something up to a little over $8. I think it might have even hit 10. But I was looking at, if we hit, 75, 80,000 and everything runs up a little bit, then we're at 85, 90,000, everything runs up a little bit. We get up to, $100,000, and tokens like Polkadot have gone from $4 up to $20. They've 5x'd. Then I would be very, very excited to take some profits off the table. But a lot of people, depending on when you were buying, you may or may not even be in profit. So this is not financial advice for any of you that, Bitcoin's been up at 95, 99 for several days. And if you started pulling off some profits and taking some money out of the market, I don't blame you. But my original plan was to take a significant chunk out, like maybe even as much as 75%, at least 50% probably, when Bitcoin hit 100K. And then use that money when Bitcoin did the the dump down to 70, 80,000 to hopefully be able to buy back in. And I knew that there was some risk in that, but I would still have 25 to 50% of my funds in the market if I'm wrong. And if Bitcoin ran, say, from 100 to 110, while I had some of my money out of the market, it wasn't going to be that detrimental to my portfolio. Oh man, you keep distracting me, Petrus. The potential upside, if Bitcoin ran from 100 all the way back down to 70 or 80, the altcoins would get smashed by 50, 60%. And so the potential upside of Polkadot going, say, from 20 back down to $6, $7, $8 and being able to buy back in was much more exciting to me than if I'm wrong and Bitcoin continues to run up to 110, and then Polkadot has gone to 22 or 23, and then I buy and I decide that the market is good and I'm going to come back in. I don't lose that much if I'm wrong, when Bitcoin got to 100 and dumped or kept going. But if I'm right and it got to 100 and then it came back to 70 or 80, it would be a huge win. So what I'm trying to say, though, is at this point, with Bitcoin going up as fast as it has, do what you will. You do your strategy. I'm just simply letting you know that I'm not pulling any money off of the table yet. If Bitcoin were to drop back down to 70 or 80 and all of the altcoins did go back down to where they were, in the beginning of November or even slightly lower, it wouldn't really change my life, because the money that I have in my portfolio right now is nowhere near where I believe it's going to be. And so to me, I'm not really that worried about pulling a bunch of profits off the table right this moment. So just do with that what you will. I just wanted to let you know that my strategy had changed a little bit, and I need to kind of figure out at what point I'm gonna. But the fact of the matter is, the crypto landscape has changed so much over the last month with, the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency coming into play. And, the fact of the matter that, that there could be American-based cryptos that are going to be exempt from taxes. That's part of the reason. If you go look at some of the biggest pumping cryptocurrencies over the last 30 days, part of the reason that some cryptos like XRP and XLM and what's the other one? Oh, Cardano, some of the biggest massive moves in the market are cryptocurrencies that are United States based. And if the rumor comes true that United States-based cryptocurrencies are going to be exempt from taxes, that's going to be huge for all of those projects and any others that are based in the United States. So that's something to keep a close eye on. But, the other thing that is different is most of us are really starting to believe that we are in for a much longer bull market than the average market cycle has lasted the last couple times. There's a possibility. I don't think we're going to get a 4-year bull like some people are thinking, but I do think that we could end up with a full year or two. And I could be wrong. We could get 4 years. I mean, it's just absolutely massive financially, that what happened in the beginning of November happened. I'm still staying away from certain keywords because it feels like anytime I use certain words, my video appears to, get ghosted, and it's not getting the views that it should. So, but you guys all know what happened earlier this month, and it's been just absolutely massive for us. And so I believe that the upside that we have coming is 2, 3, 4, 5, 10x what it possibly, what I was thinking it was going to be 6 months or a year ago. And so because the upside is so much more massive than I expected it to be, I'm not worried about a little bit of temporary downside. And so hopefully that gives you just a little bit more of an idea. Once again, you got to do what you believe in your heart is right for you and your family. It's just like we're always talking about freedom on here. Creating freedom is what we're all about, but freedom is going to look different for you than it does for me. You may need more finances than I need. You may need less finances than I need. You're the only one that knows. And so if you're planning on cashing everything out when you get to 100 grand and you're thrilled with that, and that's life-changing money, and that does what you want it to do, God bless you, man. When it gets to $100,000, follow through on your plan. If you need $1 million, get to your $1 million. If you need 10 million, get to your 10 million. I'm just kind of here to, help kind of show you the path that I am taking in what looks to me like is the highest probability. I listen to good old crypto lifer Sam Price a ton. And, one of the things that he always talks about on his trades is it's all probabilities. He never looks at the setup, looks at the technical analysis, and tells you, hey, Bitcoin's going to run up to, from 95 to 100,000. What he'll do is he looks at all the technical analysis and he'll say, hey, Bitcoin is going to break to the upside, and the next level of resistance is $98,722, and it's going to break up to that, say, 68% of the time, and 42% of the time it's coming back down. But the reason that it works for him is because theoretically, even if you're losing the same exact amount of money both directions, you would still end up, if you lose, say, if you're doing $100 profit, you're going to lose 142 times. You're going to win 68 and 32. You're going to lose 132 times. You're going to win 168. If you take 68 minus, 32, what are you at? 56? Or no, not 56, 36. So it's still a $3,600 profit if you win 68 and lose 32. But if you're following good profit loss strategy, you're not going to lose as much as you win, because you're going to have stop losses, and when it runs up, you're going to do way more than the $100. I would say on his average trade, the risk versus reward is probably 3 to 5 times on the low end. So he's going to be risking the money to lose 100 is his risk, and he's normally going to win 300 to 500 when he wins. And so even if it was a 55%, to the upside and 45% to the low side, there would still be some incredible profit to be made. But once again, you got to be ready for the 45%. 45% is going to happen a bunch of the time. And you could get unlucky and do to 45% 4, 5, 6, 7 times in a row, theoretically. So, and that's where this emotional control is. Daniel, most people lose control after a loss. Great, you controlled your emotions for a good trade outcome afterwards. Yeah, thank you. I mean, I got a little bit lucky on the second trade probably, but at least with the second trade, I went into it with my head straight and with everything lined up, the finances in the account to do what I was going to do, and then I didn't get greedy. I went ahead and cashed that trade out, at 60 cents, and it literally ran all the way back up to, I think it ran up to 62 to 65 cents, and I would have made more. But if you go look at XLM today, I think it's all the way down to 50, 55 cents or something like that. So closing it out when I did definitely saved me the stress and the anxiety of having that trade in play and having to watch it, every single second. Here we go. Absolutely, we will. High win. BLOCX community needs you. Please be our ambassador. Well, I am your ambassador. So BLOCX is one of the newest sponsors of the channel, folks. I was going to talk about this a little bit more on Wednesday on the Microcap Gem live stream, but man, BLOCX.tech is a official sponsor of the channel. It is a company that I am super, super excited about, and I definitely highly recommend all of you go take a look at BLOCX.tech. The ticker is BLOCX. It's up about, 25% or so in the last week, but it's still got a incredibly low market cap. I forget, it's under 10 million. I don't remember if it's one of the ones that's down at 1, 2, 3 million, or if it's up closer to 8 million, exactly where it is. But yeah, man, BLOCX.tech, I am an official ambassador for the company. Excited to be a part of the movement that they're making. This is an incredible token with incredible utility and real world use case. And so, yeah, definitely you guys are going to be hearing a lot more about BLOCX. We're going to be doing a deep dive video on BLOCX and giving out a couple $100 worth of BLOCX tokens to the viewers of the video. So yeah, thank you for jumping in here and supporting the channel, man. Really, really appreciate it. So with that, folks, I do have a appointment coming up. We've been going for almost an hour. Something that I'm super excited about is, I don't know if any of you noticed, but the countdown timer worked today. That was kind of fun. Excited that the countdown timer, worked today. So in the last few minutes here, let me kind of give you guys, a couple of real world strategies that you can use when you start to kind of feel yourself, maybe losing control a little bit of your emotions, and you're trying to, figure out what the next best move is, and you don't want to panic. So number one, awareness is half the battle. I didn't even really become aware of all of the dumb decisions that I was making until the 1190. Well, I think it was more like when I was in this trade $500-600 when I realized what a dummy I was being. But one of the ways that you can avoid that is to kind of have a plan. So taking one step backwards, the first thing that you ought to do is really give yourself a little bit of a rule book to go by. So especially when it comes to leverage trading, you should have an idea of how much, you are willing to risk on any specific trade, or as you'll see tomorrow, when you're laddering your trades in, you'll have an idea, you'll have a plan ahead of time. So you see all of those green trades. All of those green trades are based on what I was telling you guys over the last few weeks, last couple of months. I laddered in. I started with an amount of money that I was comfortable with. I laddered in. I had 3 or 4 stop losses in, and that's going to kind of be what I'm showing you tomorrow. But I had a plan. Saturday, when I decided to try to make this 500 in XLM, I had no plan. I just decided I was going to do it on a whim. So number one, have a plan, and then be man or woman enough to stick to your plan. Number two, really have outcomes. I think it's important. We've talked about this before, but if you don't know how much money you want to have by the end of this bull run, you're setting yourself up for failure. You really should sit down and take the time to come up with your number. Now, I'm not saying that if your number is 1 million and you get to 1 million and you very much believe that we're still only halfway through this bull market, I'm not saying that you can't change your number to 2 million at that point. What I am saying is, if you're sitting here today and you don't have a number, you're just like, well, whatever it gets to is whatever it gets to. the trouble with that is you need to have a number so that you can adjust, but you got to have a baseline. You got to know where home plate is, folks. So have a number in your head, because there's some possibility that new information is going to come into play. And there's some possibility that if your number is 1 million, there's some possibility you might get up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 700,000. And then that is where you're going to end up. And, so at least if you have the million and you start getting up to 600,000 or 700,000, but you start hearing news and things that make you believe, then it's going to go down. Like, you don't want to get to 897,000 and then decide like, nope, my number was 1 million. I'm not doing anything until it's 1 million, just to have your 897,000 come back to, 72 grand or 172 grand. It's kind of like in poker. In poker, I've seen, and I've done it myself, where like you're ahead I've literally, true story, guys, I've literally been at like $987 profit. And I thought to myself, oh, let's get up to an even 1,000. An even 1,000 sounds like a nice round number. Let's get up to an even 1,000. And then ended up losing the whole 987. You get unlucky, you lose a couple hundred. So now you're down to 700 and you're thinking, well, I still only one good pot and it'll take me back up to 1,000. So now I just need to win a big pot and I'm in good shape. And then you lose another pot. And the next thing you know, like as Daniel said, here you are, you're still ahead $500, but you're sick to your stomach because you feel like you've actually lost 400 in that scenario. And then you do stupid stuff. And the next thing you know, you're back to even, or worse, you lose money over $13. You had $987 sitting there and you lost all of it over 13 bucks. Folks, I started, just making up my mind, hey, 987 is 1,000. Like the $13, I was going to spend that on a Starbucks coffee and the valet tip on my way out of the casino. So that's a little thing. And so, have a plan. And then, I love Crypto Lifer so much. Him and I are on such the same frequency, but one of the things that he talked about the other day on his live stream that I thought was so important was he wakes up every morning and he listens to some Jim Rohn, and he listens to, if you haven't heard Jim Rohn, he's incredible. He's an older gentleman. He's actually passed away for a handful of years now. A lot of the stuff that I listen to from Jim Rohn is 20 or 30 years old, but it's still so meaningful and it's still so true today. That's one cool thing about truth is truth. And it doesn't change. The same things that were true 1,000 years ago are true in most situations when it comes to business and mindset and finances, those types of things. So much of what you can learn from guys that, were around on this planet 100 years ago. Napoleon Hill wrote the book Think and Grow Rich way back. I believe it was in like 1919 or 1920. Over a decade later, it's still one of the best books that's ever been written on being successful. And most of the people that I associate with that love to read positive, uplifting books will all agree that Think and Grow Rich is a must read. If you really want to have the wealth and the success and everything that you're looking for in life, if you haven't read Think and Grow Rich yet, go read it. But so he talked about all of the things that he's doing. He's also listening to a lot of Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza is incredible when it comes to meditation and working on creating the mindset that will get you to where you want to be. So that will also help you with your peace, and then last but not least, the power of prayer. If you're a believer and you're not using the power of prayer, then try to put that into your life more. I know that even though I've been a Christian since the day I was born almost, my dad started teaching me, Christian principles from the time I was old enough to walk and talk. There's still been a lot of times in my life where I've got away from it as far as the closeness in my relationship with the Lord, and wasn't praying and wasn't really, listening for God's voice and what he was telling me anywhere near as much as I should have been. And every time I draw closer, every time I draw closer to the to my God, then I, things start to work out better in my life, and I'm definitely more peaceful. So I definitely highly recommend that. For those of you that aren't believers, I'm not trying to be preachy here on you. You guys do what you want to do. I just know that all of the good things in my life are 100% directly from God. And the more that I stray away from him and believe that I can do it all on my own, the worse my life gets. And the more that I depend on God and the more that I go to him and the closer that I am with God, the better my life gets. And even during the tough times when things aren't going the way that they should be, I have a peace and just a feeling in my life that that just is so much better than, if you're living away from God, even when things are going good, you can be all stressed out and worried that you're going to lose it. And there can be a million things on your mind that steal your peace. And so sometimes you can actually have more peace in your life, even when things are going bad, if you are close to people. And I tell you what, Petrus, you're about ready to get banned from the channel, man. I don't need your negativity. If you hear you want to be a jerk, go be a jerk on somebody else's channel, man. We don't need you. We got life to live. We're positive. We're uplifting. We're excited about the direction that we're going in. I've got a lot of people that watch this channel that definitely don't share my Christian beliefs, and that's okay. We all still love each other, but they're not on here giving me a hard time, heckling me, man. So if that's what if you think that life is all about coming onto people's YouTube channels and giving them a hard time, and that what makes you happy, man, I feel really sorry for you, pal. You must have a really miserable life going on if this is, what you think is a fun way to spend your time. So with that, folks, I do want to give you a funny little story. I don't know that it necessarily has a whole lot to do with what we talked about today, but I thought it was pretty funny. And I think it has a little bit to do in a way with what we do today. Like we're talking about, the difference between doing right and maybe doing almost right is what I'll kind of liken this story to. So sometimes in life you kind of do it right, but you're messing up a little bit. And then there's other times in life where you're really doing everything right. And so this story kind of illustrates that principle. So folks, there's this gentleman driving down the street and he comes to a stop sign and he kind of just rolls through the stop sign. It kind of rolls through the stop sign, and a police officer sees him not come to a complete stop. So the police officer ends up pulling him over. And so police officer walks up to his car, he rolls down his window, and the police officer says, "Hey, do you know why I pulled you over?" And the guy's like, "No." And they're like, "Well, you didn't come to a complete stop. You kind of rolled through that stop sign." And the guy said, "Yeah, but I slowed down. I almost stopped. I slowed down." And the cop said, "Yeah, but you didn't stop." And the guy says, "Yeah, but I slowed down." And the cop once again says, "Yeah, but you didn't stop." And the guy says, "What's the big deal, man? What's the difference? What's the difference between slowing down and stopping?" And the cop says, "Here's the difference." And he pulls out his billy club and he starts whacking the guy in the head with his billy club. And after about the fourth or fifth whack, he says to the guy, "Do you want me to slow down or do you want me to stop?" And I just got a chuckle out of that. I thought it was funny when I heard it over the weekend. I wanted to share that with you. Do you want me to slow down or do you want me to stop? And so, folks, when you're rolling through life and you're coming up to that stop sign and you're trying to choose between really doing what is right, what is the best thing that you can do, or maybe, skimping it, half-assing it a little bit and only doing partial right, maybe that story will come to mind and you remember, hey, this is the time where I need to do it right 100%. So with that, folks, I love you all. I hope that you will see me tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I really look forward to doing the Trader Tuesday, and we're going to have a fantastic session tomorrow. Be prepared. I think I went about 2 hours last Tuesday. I might try to keep it a little bit shorter, but in general, those Trader Tuesdays are going to be a little bit longer. If you can't watch them live, then, maybe split them up into 15, 20, 30-minute increments and watch them over the course of, multiple different times. If you just can't find yourself watching a YouTube video for 2 hours at a time. But look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And hey, God bless you, Petrus. I love you too, man. Maybe we are more alike than I think we are. Either way, it doesn't matter, man. We're all brothers here on this earth, brothers and sisters here on this earth. We're all about helping each other do better and have more and to be successful. So I love you, Petrus, and I appreciate you being here and spending your time with me. And I appreciate all of you, man. Thank you all for being here. Crypto Billy, thank you for being here, man. I love you, brother. And Eric, once again, I know you were here right from the beginning. Thank you. Dave P., thank you. God bless you all. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.